everyone has everyone has traveled to their couch across vast distances. Um, really excited to be kicking off the spring Holloway series with Jonah Mixon Webster, who will be preceded by Alexander Lin, who will be introduced by Jennifer Soong. I just wanted to tell you about the other instances of the series that will come kind of close together after this one. This very next week, Ginger Coate will be here reading with Will Davidson. And then on March 18th, Francine Harris will be here reading with Lindsay Choi. And then on 4/8, we have a co-sponsored event with El Grupo. Roberto Tejada and Ana Dini Morales will be reading. And then on a Wednesday, not a Thursday in April, on April 14th, Jen Hoffer, our resident or virtually resident Holloway poet, will be reading in addition to her work teaching a class this semester for us. So we're really excited about this slate and that we're kicking it off with Jonah. I'm going to turn things over to Jennifer Soong, who will introduce Alex, and then Mary Mussman will be introducing Jonah Mixon Webster. Thank you for being here.
Thanks so much, and it's good to see everyone. In any given time and place, the paths of poets are fated to cross. Poets, that is, tend to seek other poets out. I first met Alex Lin in 2016. Since then, I've been struck by the vulnerability and tenderness of his language, its susceptibility rather than resistance to life. In his poems, there's a certain untimeliness. Distinguishing themselves from anything typed on a smartphone, Lin's poems reject fashion and instead reach for a world that is further away from contemporary cacophony and its dominant affective modes, anxiety and boredom. As a result, they are interested in how the present is made of deep time, how feeling entails the gradualness of persons, how desire manifests itself as memory and shadow rather than as willed object, how patience remains an aesthetic practice. The poems are quieter, slower to emerge, moving between surface and distance, footprint and reflection. They are made of smoke and steam, fate and hours. Against a more natural, elemental, and even intangible world, the ego of the speaker recedes. Yet the nature in Lin's poems do not render it pastoral. Rather, nature appears in a more metaphysical sense. What is the nature of one's want, of one's vision, of mortality, of contact? These questions are not answered, but left to construct a world of and for themselves. When I read these poems, I think of myself sitting still behind the metronome of some windshield wiper as the ambient world is seen through rain. Everything is glimpsed, mediated, appearing to disappear. Rain gives the semblance of movement to the worlds behind it, even if that world is still. The same goes for the poetic line in Lin's work, where the verb is often subordinate to the descriptive phrase. He writes, 8 o'clock by the fleeting slope, from intimacy's blue long fall, from true to, in no less honest ambiguity, this sight of distance swelling fragrance, a little piece of your creation. Here, action primarily takes the form of perceptive activity. Much of what occurs happens in what is left unsaid. Ambiguity, as the poet suggests, is no less honest than what is explicit. In Lin's work, then, the declarative nature of any line has less to do with the finality of the new sentence or the end stop than it does with the ontology of things and their presented forms. And just as Lin's poems have something uncontemporary about them, something perhaps holier, belonging to an older divinity, so too do they have a sound that is, to my ears, distinctly transcultural and transnational. I think of Rod Mangum when he said of the poet Stephen Rutherford that of all the most intensely American poets, Stephen turns out to be the most European. This may be somewhat true of Lin's work as well. One encounters the spirit of Rilke or Bachman more than that of Whitman or Dickinson. Perhaps something of the haiku can be heard too. For me, it is the isolation of Lin's work, being a little out of time and a little out of place, that makes it interesting. Alex Lin is based in a Philly suburb for the duration of the pandemic. He studied at Princeton University and the University of Tokyo. He is currently a doctoral candidate at the University of California, Berkeley, where he works on German and Japanese literature and philosophy. Please join me in welcoming Alex Lin.
Thank you so much, Ren. That was so lovely. Hello, everyone. I'm in Complit at Berkeley, but physically in Pennsylvania now. And I'd like to share with you some recent work. So without further ado. A deer without nearness you could not see, fluttering, alighting on the soft of spine, and the dreaming verdant hour sign, and fireflies at the forest rand. Sing me, summer, to its end. Season, that truism, or what you take with your mouth, a sip, words, music, smiling promises. Under what sign, in what language do you swear? So too say conspiracies of the fearful. The major metaphor of the Enneads is fire. No, she said, that's not a metaphor, fire. For ours is truly like a form upon matter, for it consumes matter. Gold-beaten sheets limn the downy furrow, the coast to horizon expanse of your back, February. Day fades from sight into uncertain American dreams, a world in which the words, I am happy because I'm with you, are as a bird flown across your field of vision and tear-dried sense of political possibility. Go then and speak in their tongue. Vision shifts, turns, irresistible as an emotion of the people. Under snow, a woman's throat, and 4 aster stems, blue shadowed on blank, glistening by the day, for the night, its trials only yet begun. Its call instantly recognizable in its native woods. 8 o'clock by the fleeting slope, from intimacy's blue long fall from true to, in no less honest ambiguity, this sight of distant swelling fragrance, a little piece of your creation. While bedded in violet, 2 deer, weather flight, pale, unvoiced syllables, flickered through the copse, mouthing foreign words. Woe to those who are silent. Abbott's Lagoon. She rests a while longer in the warm shadow of the dune. Waves cannot reach her. Waves recede miles from her bare toes, and with them all familiar answers and all fears into the Pacific. But I am afraid for you in America. Behind the back happiness for you. Streets diverging at dawn, a hole opening up in the ribbon, and every last metal lettering falling through. In that moment's pale vigilance, Lunula on close-lidded blind echo mind, and your eyes to such skin of the night, its birthmarks, raindrop pattered, plant an aster sprig in the sleeping heart, beating valley, early morn, lavender shadow of his dreams after storm, that sink in funneled moments, Parsifalian in snow, infinitely woundable in reveries and its ripplings. On pine-clustered shores, we walk barefoot, shoes in hand, and look for ourselves in what reflects and needs be today again remembered. Not prayer falling legless from my lips, yet I know this pain will bloom in the cheeks, and the mouth will command tonight the silhouette of her own night. Ineluctably, black wings of the trees, crimson dress pleats, with an earthward accent, zapateado, shaken off against the firmament warm, where fire naps in the shallows, and clouds midstream await the falls and his plunging sublunary breath. Every time I get on the stage, it shaves off days from my life. From the footprint in the heart that stays, the autumn cricket asks, not after what sustains at a hum through 3 a.m. Mute music and the summer triangle rotated across into the palm of your distant firmament eye. The starry heavens above me, the starry heavens above me. On the minor chord of mortal affection, to resolve and again, to the name, the hips, the palms so close again, then sublimate to smoke, steam streaming over and above our vaulted fate ashless into stars. Those same hieroglyphs and the wood's dimness, the white tail flash and steadiest gaze, limbed with white snake root, damp where the spring begotten blink, and my eyes give the portrait of a woman in love. Tremble, vision, at the hour the vision revealed, wrath on that day, all-encompassing opalescent inscribed by his hand on your unseeing heart wall. The creature meets us against glass, shattered, and shows from its flanks the yet pulsing secretum. This is blood, my steady hand, the only ichor. This is the present of our embrace. The twilight entrance like the attic vase on your shelf with the dancers and their dancing iterations churning against the horizon and dark. This is all I've got. I have no children. He would always tell me someday he was going to do something big. We take this word as our theme, desecration. Now she knows what this union looks like a cloud hung in branches, like throngs at the trunk's base, like snow, pine cones, earth and sand. An American girl climbs a tree, or a marble wall, or stands against a faceless wall. Where? Blue sky, red with our own red, white, and blue, she pleads. When? Wild flower, wildfire strewn. Why does a deer lie down beside a concrete culvert flooded atop the clover's bloom? I am a hunter. The phrase from evening car radio falls clear. An inarticulate lover blushes and is eaten. Into the grave pours a marble snow-white milk. Metaphors are but the lies of fathers. Throw me a fast one in the dark. Under your tongue, a first-person feeling, blind pleasure, like potted marigolds. Take off your shirt, slowly, my saffron heart. By which the faithful recognize each other. There is yet a tree in the city square. Earth adheres inevitably to his true soul. What say you if this is truly earth's mortal joy and inferno, if heaven blinds and death comes with your eyes? We know each other by each day's revolution. longing for the next and the end, but a moment to return before the cosmetic dries. The mountain in her mirror eye, there the trunks once massive, there towered, and he saw the evening sun flood the land and the river burn. In this day and age, what is sacred, that we burn. With cloud deployments, underground, scorched, under sea. Gaze not at the field hallucinations, on the forest rand, on the hilltops, from the hilltops, sun, brush inflammable in the beast's blinkless eye. In German it meant heavenly joy. Patient, for this much left, unburnt, the every surface soot rests on your neck, particulate and remains there still, like birdsong dusting the windowsill. Soon it will be as dark, blood burgundy to late summer's hymn, as on the first day when he, all light and liquid stone, there undifferentiated earth. In each other we will find an alpine zone exposed to the wind, the gold of mountain avens. Pre-reserved, let it be man, work, creation, let it speak, compose, and be ground to dust. This word, the one, and no more, the sword, amor, the one for thee, Lord. Away from words like that. Then he walks into indigo and darker than wet asphalt, blessing, parting. Not a wayside station, this heart upwelling in the sand-traced sign so quick and lost. Moon waves and hoof-tracked snow in that expansion and beautiful oath. If melt water, unembossed. Now I am happy, she said. Thank you.
Man, oh my God, that was gorgeous. I'm mute myself. You on everybody on mute really fast and clap it up for that, please. That was gorgeous. That was so beautiful. Please, everybody can mute. I would love to hear the applause. Like, that was gorgeous. Oh my God.
Thank you, Jonah.
Yeah, that was just beautiful.
Thank you.
I felt like you made me fall in love with poetry again.
Little
like,
creations.
So that,
All right, Jonah. So Mary Mussman is about to introduce you. Please welcome Mary.
Thanks. Can everyone hear me? If one person gives a thumbs up, awesome. Thanks. Thanks, Alex. Thank you, Jen. I'd also like to thank Jess and Jeffrey for your work organizing the Holloway series, and in doing so, continuing to maintain Berkeley's poetry community during and despite the coronavirus pandemic. Thank you. At the end of the second to last poem of his debut poetry collection, Stereotype, Jonah Mixon Webster poses the question, where can I get additional information? The response, www.cdc.gov. As many of us have learned or relearned in the past year, the Centers for Disease Control website does not always give us enough information or the right information or the additional information that we need. And more often than not, we have to look elsewhere. That Mixon Webster's poetry gives us information that we need is a premise of his first book, a premise that he has defined as, quote, telling the truth about what is going on in Flint, end quote. In his work, Jonah Mixon Webster, who is from Flint, Michigan, excavates truths, gives them contours and context, and points to the gaps in the narratives through which we think we understand what is going on. The poem, in which the question, "Where can I get additional information?" appears, gathers governmental records and family histories and news reports, and the question itself is taken directly from the boil water advisory FAQs on the Michigan State website. The poem gathers all of this and more into the most lucid account of the water crisis in Flint that I've encountered in the nearly 7 years since Flint changed its water supply in April 2014. If there is a need for additional information, as there always is, it is Mixon Webster who compels us to seek it out and to bear witness to what we find. Telling the truth about Flint is not the only premise of Mixon Webster's work. Stereotype opens with an epigraph from Amiri Baraka's Dutchman, in which Baraka insists not to quote, make the mistake of talking too much about the advantages of Western rationalism or the great intellectual legacy of the white man, end quote. This is another premise, to start not from the whiteness inscribed in Western rationalism, but rather through invocations of William Wells Brown, Tisa Bryant, Glenda Carpio, Charles Chestnut, Douglas Kearney, Adrian Piper, Richard Pryor, Ishmael Reed, Kara Walker, and Bert Williams. Placing his work in dialogue with these Black luminaries and many others, Mixon Webster interrogates the stereotypes of Blackness suggested by his book's title. His poetry theorizes Black hauntologies and Black existentialisms, and he questions, following Saidiya Hartman, why the sight of suffering so readily lends itself to inviting identification. Off the page, Mixon Webster's work does its work differently through performance and sound and video documentary. He is, after all, also a conceptual and sound artist. In a recording of the poem Black Hauntology No. 10, gaps that on the page we might be inclined to pause over and to slow down at are transformed into urgent percussive staccato. In the recording, which I think we will hear tonight, Mixon Webster's voice blends and overlaps with his own voice, with visual effects layered over the video. Listening and looking, we get additional information. We learn to read again and read differently, to read with urgency. Mixon Webster also requires us to notice where there is no additional information to be had. In Bait Switch, the first installment of his immersive documentary project Protocol, which was published online at the beginning of April 2020, Mixon Webster underscores the lack of universal standards for how the public and public servants, civilians and police should interact. What is the protocol for civilians? What is the protocol for the police? Is there actually a consistent or universal protocol? And dashcam footage of what began as a so-called traffic stop and which turned into an unwarranted and warrantless arrest, Mixon Webster asks again and again why the situation is unfolding the way it does. He says, "I'm trying to figure out my rights." In the accompanying voiceover, he explains of his interaction with the police, "I didn't know the nature of our relationship," and in an echo, immediately, a warning. His point is evident and undeniable. The rules of engagement, the protocols are ad hoc and inextricable from structural racism. More information is literally vital, and Mixon Webster compels us again to bear witness to missing information, to read situations again, and to read them with urgency. Before I cede the floor or the screen, here's a little more additional information of the usual introductory kind. Mixon Webster, who is a visiting professor of poetry at Webster University, no relation, or maybe relation, has been recognized in numerous ways for his work, including with fellowships from the Penn Writing for Justice program and the Center for African American Poetry and Poetics. His first book, Stereotype, which will be reissued by Knopf later this year, won both the PEN America Joyce Osterweil Award and the Sawtooth Poetry Prize, and was a finalist for the Lambda Literary Award for Gay Poetry. Last year, he was awarded a Wyndham Campbell Prize. We are so lucky to have him here with us tonight. It is my honor and my pleasure to introduce Jonah Mixon Webster.
Thank you so much, Mary. Oh my God, that was gorgeous. That was gorgeous. And especially to bring such a beautiful reading of the work after we heard such a beautiful reading from Alexander. And so, it's a great night. Thank you. Thank you so much. I think maybe I'll start before I get into some of this other stuff and try some things out on you all. I'll start with the piece that Mary referenced, Black Hauntology No. 10. See if you can hear it.
At this juncture, inexorable meaning through erasure and the signal of the edge, the rib, the meat, the fat, the flush, the coin, the silver, the blood, the juice, the box, the bird, the feather, the milk, the land, the bottle, the lash, the nick, the dime, the dope, the dust, the soil, the shore, the shine, the shell, the man, the ball, the cup, the air, the car, the sip, the sheet, the shield, the meal, the muscle, the meat, the menace, the glass, the draw, the weather, the wind, the soft, the wood, the word, the draw, the skin, the fit, the fitted, the tassel, the tech, the port, the stack, the stave, the dam, the deacon, the deck, the braid, the cave, the star, the money, the give, the document, the fact, the scab, the tap, the hem, the drain, the drow, the jest, the stage, the track, the wine, the howl, the meter, the yoke, the jam, the skull, the huff, the jump, the pick, the peak, the shit, the shake, the kick, the chill, the stream, the lake, the river, the marsh, the cap, the slit, the juke, the breath, the bread, the break, the breath, the bread, the break, the breath, the bread, the break, the breath, the bread, 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 the breath, 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 the bread, the break, the chain, the tape, the bush, the clutch, the lair, the hush, the plead, the threat, the break, the breath, the bread, the break, the breath, the bread, the break, the breath, the bread, the break, the chain, the tape, the bush, the clutch, the lair, the hush. The plead, the threat, the reed, the ring, the brass, the roach, the foot, the gist, the skate, the shade, the scope, the mist, the market, the matter, the screw, the lead, the river, the mister, the mask, the clutch, the trick, the take, the shake, the bend, the gym, the case, the clip, the chin, the X, the fuse, the joust, the knife, the shit, the pitch, the throw, the push, the meter, the mill, the grin, the tooth, the shun, the bash, the ball, the sand, the seat, the walk, the jet, the jail, the maker, the light, the tight, the spell, the clean, the post, the trench, the bunker, the trench, the valley, the book, the script, the jacket, the church, the boy, the stoop, the box, the sling, the lays, the limb, the line, the axle, the tether, the limb, the thump, the lane, the bag, the toast, the gill, the vigor, the concern, the cure, the code, the cook, the gene, the oil, the glue, the mark, the pot, the score, the
All right, so I don't know how well you could hear that. I was just jumping into the mix. All right, so I hope you know. Yeah, so sometimes I do these kind of improvisatory kind of mixes really fast. Thank you everybody. I'm gonna take some pre-recording. This piece right here actually is a recording of a one take. So I recorded the language in one take. The performance was done in one take. The xylophone, the sounds you hear, that was all layered in one take. And so sometimes I kind of like mess around, try to see, what other sounds or what other experiences, senses, various meanings can kind of surface up, on the spot. Because I'm kind of like improv and little taste. So maybe I'll get into some poems, to some other poems on the page. Really fast. Let me see. Like what Alexander read was just so beautiful. I'm like, I want to keep the theme of beauty going, but I might have to find my way there. Typically, I don't say typically, but sometimes I find that because of the circumstances and the context, the conditions that I've seen, I have to kind of parse out all this other stuff, right? To find the beauty. I have to really kind of search through some of the muck, the mire, and find, get the beauty in there. And when it comes through, everything else, it's like the juxtaposition of the ugly and the beautiful, the pain and the pleasure of it. So let me find my way to the beauty. Might take me a little bit. Weapons of thought could wield. In the word of the mind of the word, murder, a simple premise, quick utility, pistol or cane, or wood or any metal, new money for old rope, a nail for the body, a field for the coffin, simple premise, inevitability, a shout and a gather, a rubbernecking, a knowing, a slew occupation, knife in a bread box, missiles in the hamper, bombs in the basement, a trap, the catch, a rumor, inevitability, a simple premise. What becomes of a mind becomes of a body, zero thought, something harder, a knowing, time and place, depth and proximity, a piece of piss, the portent, a simple premise, murder, a look at the waist, the thing to hold and the thing to be held on to, a mother's purse, your father's pockets, armories of the state, mundane ornaments, a cross for your hands, a cross for your back, the forgetting, inevitability, black sheep for burial, daylight for discovery, tokens of vengeance, a war for meaning, a war for peace, the simple premise, want, for whom, for what, nothing. So the book has this section that deals chiefly, like primarily with the Flint water crisis. The section itself is called Based on Actual Events, Attempts to Survive the Apocalypse. When I first began writing this section, I think in like 2016, and actually Tom Committa's here, and which has an interesting story because Tom Committa commissioned some work. He was working, him and George Pafar. They were working on the Zombie Variation Symposium. And so they were taking works that were, had a kind of a theme. They were kind of, directing or kind of oriented around the theme of like, zombification, zombieism, things like that. And the work that came from some of that prompt, allowed me to contextualize what was happening in Flint, right? And from the commission work. And so that's how a lot of the major conceit of the work, kind of thinking about, the kind of zombie apocalypse that, kind of came about because of the water crisis, the ways that, people in the city, they were experiencing these zombie-like effects. I did not know at that time how much it would be like a living, growing work. And then now this opportunity for Stereotype to be republished, the work is able to kind of grow and expand and kind of make room for and acknowledge some of the various changes, right, and the developments in the case of the Flint water crisis and the resistance. So I want to read some of the additional work that comes in from an incubation section. It is 2020 and the city of Flint says, don't boil the water. And I refuse to drink a single drop from any tap or bottle now. I've stopped bathing completely, waiting for rain to slick my skin back on. I eat accessory fruits, mainly from cardboard, and cover the rashes on my face with coconut oil. To appear more alive, I sit beneath the sun lamp, touching no one. It is 2016 and the city of Flint says, boil the water. My mother lays her head in a couch of her own hair, pulls back a scar from the watermark in her leg, the scalp of her knee giving to the bloody lock. Faucet water hardens into a fang, attacks, slowly unfleshes the body altogether. It is 2017 and the city of Flint says, boil the water. I undo the gauze from the stitched together incision below my navel, the procedure, an embolization to loosen the knot of veins growing inside me. And to clean the wound, I use a room temperature bottle of purified drinking water, more gauze, and a plain bar of antibacterial soap. I apply a small amount of Bactine to the area and stick on a hospital-grade bandage. I press onto it lightly for 10 seconds. It is 2014, and the city of Flint says, don't boil the water. I lie into a nightmare of sound. Again, the house in whole hood is washed in the voice of some agent installed in the park burn projects adjacent to the crib, tucked in the half of an acre. An alarm, a holler on blast every night from 10 p.m. until we all sleep it off. This lasts for a year, despite complaint. Another day starts like this, stretched by the mile of voice sounding off from the intersection of Pearson and Clover Lawn, throwing itself to the undead, which lay some distance elsewhere. The broke record of it in the air, in the water, in the dream. Warning, warning. You have violated an area protected by security. The authorities have been notified. Leave immediately. Warning, warning. You have violated an area protected by security. The authorities have been notified. Leave immediately. Warning, warning. You have violated an area protected by security. The authorities have been notified. Leave immediately. Warning, warning. You have violated an area protected by security. The authorities have been notified. Leave immediately. Warning, 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 warning. You have violated an area protected by security. The authorities have been notified. Leave immediately. Warning, warning. You have violated an area protected by security. The authorities have been notified. Leave immediately. Warning, warning. You have violated an area protected by security. The authorities have been notified. Leave immediately. Warning, leave immediately. Warning, warning. Leave immediately. Leave immediately. Leave immediately, leave. It is 2015. The city of Flint says, boil the water. I returned to the city for the first time since the story surfaced, riding through the hood, crossing at the corner of Pearson and DuPont. Stands a string of neon stanchions, military servicemen, a gaggle of pallets, a gaggle of bottled waters wishing us well. It is 2018, and the city of Flint says, don't boil the water. Soon, a new narrative. Lead exposed as opposed to lead poisoned. The spin of an incident as accident, as posture to say, I guess we all were just a little naive. As counter to, yes, we did this with our full knowing, education and training notwithstanding. Surely you can trust us now. It is 2020, and the city of Flint says, boil the water. Bills, flyers, pamphlets, bills, bags, manuals, bills, mailers, bills, boxes, bills, bottles, bottle caps, bills, a junk flood in the streets, overflow in our houses now, every piece of litter and literature yelling, consume, consume. It is 2019, and this voice on the radio says, have you or your family been affected by the Flint water crisis? Does your child's blood levels show evidence of lead poisoning? Have you noticed any rashes or developmental issues in your child? If so, you may be eligible to file a claim and receive compensation for you and your child's suffering. Please call us at the law offices of, it is 2015, and the city of Flint says, boil the water. My boy Q posts a picture of his back bubbling with fissures and an even spread. Having bathed in the city's northeast waters, the contagion carries itself into the host, bearing witness to a feast of skin and other soft metals. So I'm gonna do this one really fast. I don't know if anybody's parents or if anybody in here themselves play the lottery, or if anybody, used to go to the numbers man, if anybody people used to use the numbers man to play the lottery, but I kind of wrote a poem about that. I got into some numbers playing a little bit. So this is a poem called Dollar Straight, Dollar Box. The draw, an easy money pickup. We knew all came true as God and how we prayed on it. Monday through every day, the same morning, midday, evening ritual, 4-way for sure luck, a certainty, 3-digit of softer odds. 8, 1, 1. Where numbers off, a house mother smells burnt flesh in, what sister sees in it, eyes flipped, came out its own ghost. 1, 8, 1. My first hit after choosing the pets, made the wager in Michigan, maybe drop in Illinois. Mama says, play what you need. Dream book says the number father appears as on the slip. Neither come. 5, 8, 0. There's a neighborhood memory of my young toddler fever mouth shouting numbers, they say. Man, we all hit 4 days straight till you got better. I haven't been right since. 4, 5, 9. Remember that number. In 3rd grade, light-skinned Brittany asks, what happened? Your mama hit the lottery or something? Because you ain't never had Nautica before. She did. Never say your numbers out loud, though. Everybody will be rich. 1, 9, 1, 8. The same number even paid my court fees. Kept me out of jail. I recall past plate numbers in my head, overdo the math again, add the forms to feel the weight of it. Prime sums stuff gullets with guessing. Composites allude to a relation of parts, other phantasms. Coincidence means pay attention, meaning scared. Money don't make money. JPR 4833 DNM 2736 HCEM 7029 35YRY1B BOSOs 206135 DZJ1 249 7885 2343 VR 7MXV 3913 GIV 3 UP1. If you spend it with the numbers, man, one spot lets you put down for a nickel on the wheel. Then you can get yourself enough to buy a new ticket. Birthday came out straight in the midday, not a dollar on it. They watching you, a man at the machine says before feeding his pockets. They know when you play, what you play, when you don't play. 4, 1, 2. A mirror gives you the obvious of what will come next. Time, place, a date, the nearest name, the absence of expectation notwithstanding. You can't win if you don't play, the man says. And well, hell, if I was in your shoes, I'll bet my last dollar too. All right, let me see. Can I get into some beauty yet? All right, maybe it's time for some beauty. Maybe I have some. Maybe we can get to some beauty. All right, so this is one poem that's going to appear in the reprint. This actually comes from my name. So this is called Ode to Darnell, the erased Negro man in the middle of my name. So my middle name is Darnell. It's something that nobody will ever see, my name typically. I already got 3 names people have to announce. So not too much room for Darnell, but Darnell has kind of been the name that it's kind of racially codified, right? You hear the name Darnell and people immediately kind of think of a Black man. However, according to the Dictionary of American family names, Darnell derives from the Old French darnel, which is an annual grass, Lilium timilentum. I might be saying that Latin wrong. However, the plant was believed to produce intoxication. A variant spelling of Darnall, a habitational name from Darnall, a district of Sheffield, Yorkshire, Cheshire, both named from Old English Dern, hidden, secret, and hall, meaning nook. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I'm like, wow, my middle name kind of means a secret place. So I wrote Ode to Darnell. It was said, heard melodies are sweet, but those unheard are sweeter. So in your name, I listen not for some nightingale to unhook the chime from its would-be net, save for the whistle of a single flare shot into the total blank of the mind's expanse. From where dost thou hollow happy light retain? Upon what sweet and unsober face life furrow the living shadow? O darling gloom of muted horn and fire brush unsounding, if thou truly were a stem or grass of other earth, I would pluck it from its steady, to keep only for thyself etching endlessly the hallowed scores of thy name. Self-portrait and stereotype number 8. Black is what surrounds a sickle moon. Here comes my tautology. A blackness of a blackness of a blackness. Amal Jamal Johnson, Pygmy. 1. You go on in the dark wreath of midnight mornings as dust nursed by twilight. 1. You mirror the cocked open neck of a lost thing found in a plantation forest, you and your shot out eyes. 1. You in your swart eclipse, water stung by night rain, the pinpricked flag bent over it all. 1. A blank body born from a blank gut, the shadow moth starved of day, its tongue hinged on its own wing. Are we at the beauty yet? Are we at the beauty? I don't know if I'm getting there. I'll try this. Let me see if we can get some more beauty. Cipher in which I cannot say the gangster disciple in Boys Town. For K. I imagine saying even your almost name would channel your body back from this night. Off the hip, we broke necks, looking back from the curb, lipping onto the crosswalk, staged for two men making eyes at the other. The time of any man's gaze is telling, and this too we talk, leaving our boys behind, walking to procure a seat on the steps of anonymity. In front of a stranger's house, you pull up and I do as you did. You tell me shit gets fat, this too a mirage you carry, and through skin we become neighbors, but nah, you are no fad. I'll call your name and your look is blank. You catch me stutter and step, you tell me you've made it. Tell me 26 in secret as if it were the winning number. As if with no logic, you touch me like you could already. Said, I used to be pretty. Said, not no more. Did the video cut out? Sorry, can you hear? Oh, I'm sorry, I think, yeah, it looked like my video just cut out on you. I'm sorry, hold on, let me switch over really fast. Super fast, there we go. Backup camera, I think my first camera died on me. All right, I'm so sorry. I was liking where that poem was going. Let me back it up a little bit. You tell me you've made it. Tell me 26 in secret as if it were the winning lottery number. As if with no logic, you touch me like you could already. You say, I used to be pretty. Said, not no more. And I want to sing it for you. About whatever and however you want. About the black tattoo tear water. About the body you caught on this night. About the love for your niece you tell in the passing minute. And I would do this thing trying to save you with my mouth. A mirror of color and code. You ask if I know, and I promise I know. You promise nothing. And what I do next is another defeat. Write this, knowing it won't keep you. Was that beautiful? I don't know. That wasn't beautiful. That's not beautiful. That's not beautiful. All right, what time? I don't know how much time people have been taking. So wrap it up. One more, last one. All right, thank you. I see. Thank you so much. All right, appreciate it. Can I try this last? Let's one more. I'm feeling like I'll try this. It's gonna be in there. Maybe I'll do this one. Last one. This poem, its title comes from Francine Harris's poem "Sift" from her book Allegiance. I think Francine is going to be visiting. I think next is Francine on the next one or the one after. She's coming up. So yeah, so that's a nice way to wrap it up. And I'm not all nigger. And I'm not all nigger. I'm not all slung neck. I'm not all rope. I'm not all broke back. I'm not all pop. I'm not all headshot nor jailbird. I'm not all whistle at the white girl. I'm not all meat slump. I'm not all cannon of teeth gliding across the Tallahatchie night water. Not all gun stipple and spilt blood. Not the boom of red smoke breaking the body open with a new exit wet already. And I'm not all body. I'm not all dead fruit, dark swinging in the tree breeze. And though that is my blood, I'm still not the blood on the leaves. I'm still not all cotton mouth, hollow choke, hood whip, not all t-shirt slogan and hashtag, not all don't shoot, not all I can't breathe, not some orgiastic shadow of dead flesh, because even when I die, I'm still not all death. I'm still not all brown sugar, stalk, honey pot, sour diesel, the blues and blue dream. No, I'm not all nigga, boy. I'm not all here in this saying, not all is said, not the same haunt. Silence is the beginning and it will be the end. I come not as one, nor with nothing. Still, I'm still, and I still got my name. I'm still Jenny. I'm still Laura. I'm still Lawrence. I'm still Emmett. I'm still Mike. I'm still Marie. I'm still Jeremy. I'm still Tamir. I'm still Charlie. I'm still Brianna. I'm still Freddie. I'm still Ayana. I'm still Eric. I'm still Rakia. I'm still Walter. I'm still Laval. I'm still Sean. I'm still Oscar. I'm still Trayvon. I'm still Amadou. I'm still George. I'm still Jordan. I'm still Tommy. And I'm still George. And my mama's still my mama. And my daddy's still my daddy. And my friends are still my friends. And these are still my brothers and sisters. And I still have my house and my room and my garden and my job. And I still had my school. And I still graduated. Remember? I still had a life before they took that. So when you tell the story, get it right. And take all my shit back. Thank you. Thank you.
Woo! Thank you, Jonah. I think everyone knows there was beauty the whole time, even in the muck and mire.
Yeah, thank you.
Number 459.
Thank you. I really
Thank you, Alex, so much. And thank you, Mary and Jennifer, for the beautiful introductions.
Thank all you. It was such a great time. Wow. Excuse the tears. Yeah, but it was really great. Really great.
And yeah, we'll have you out in 2025 when we can
Oh,
all
please. Thank you so much.